Hello and welcome. Today, I'm going to do a movie recap regarding a 2009 science fiction thriller film entitled Race to Witch Mountain. The film is a remake of the 1975 Disney live-action film Escape to Witch Mountain. Warning: spoilers ahead. Enjoy the recap, everyone. The movie begins with a vignette talking about UFOs and conspiracies. Then group of government agents track a flying object that flies into Earth's atmosphere over Las Vegas. Henry Burke gives the orders for his fellow agents to follow where it crashed and get whatever information they can. Meanwhile, in town, cab driver Jack Bruno, played by Dwayne Johnson, picks up a couple of guys in stormtrooper outfits who speak in robotic voices to take them to the UFO convention at Planet Hollywood. He takes their plastic rifles and points to a sign in his cab that says no weapons. Back in the desert, Burke and his men examine footprints. Through further analysis from Matheson, they've taken humanoid form. Burke slowly backtracks how the two managed to get out of the desert overnight, and discover the two of them, disguised as teens, snuck onto a senior citizens tour, headed right into Vegas. Jack gives a ride to Dr. Alex Friedman, who's in town for the UFO convention as a theorist investigating life on other planets. She can tell that Jack doesn't really believe in them, but gives him a pamphlet anyway, in case he changes his mind. The next morning, he heads to his cab to prepare for work, but two thugs pull up in a truck. It turns out they work for a local crime boss, and he wants Jack to come back to work for him. But Jack explains that he's out, but the thugs get in close. He slams them down on the hood. When a cop comes threatening to give them a ticket for their parking job, they leave, promising Jack that it isn't over. Jack gets back into his cab and suddenly discovers Sarah, played by Anna Sophia Robb, and Seth, played by Alexander Ludwig, in his back seat. They explain that they're in a hurry to get out of there and show a huge wad of cash to Jack. He accepts the job, but gets slightly irritated by Seth's details and where they're going. After accessing cameras throughout the city, Burke discovers that the kids hopped into Jack's cabs. The cab is now driving through the desert, where Jack is analyzing the situation with the kids. He thinks they're runaways. However, Sarah interrupts when she notes that someone is chasing them. Jack thinks they're with the crime boss, and attempts to outrun them. Seth disappears through the seat, and stands on the road, and the truck, not seeing his sudden appearance, crashes right into him. Sarah uses forceful powers to reverse gears on the cab, and hit the accelerator pedal to back it up. Seth gets back in the cab, without opening the door, unbeknownst to Jack. He tells the agents, including Burke, that he said he is out, and he means it. A flustered Jack gets back into the cab, and drives away. Hours later, he gets the kids to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. They give him the cash and leave, going into the cabin. He looks at the cash, and realizes they overpaid him. He gets out, and slowly enters the house to catch up with them. They're crouched down, using some kind of sensor to find something. Seth locates it, and activates a switch on a fridge, and it opens a secret panel. The kids go inside, and Jack follows, not knowing that a weird dude in a spacesuit is watching behind him. They go into an inner area that looks like an atrium. Seth finds some egg-shaped thing, and sets down another switch. He reaches inside, and pulls out a sensor of some kind. However, the spacesuit guy charges after them, with a laser cannon. Jack tries to hold him off, but gets knocked down. Soon, everything in the atrium is set ablaze, and when Seth shuts the door to the atrium, he is blown back by the hunter's blasts. Jack picks up the unconscious Seth, and tells Sarah to keep moving. Jack gets in the cab, and drives off with them in tow. Seth quickly recovers, and tells Jack that he will be fine. The spacesuit guy is in pursuit in his spaceship, shooting at them with everything he's got. Jack drives into a train tunnel, and narrowly avoids the hunter's sensors. Sarah tells Jack that it is a siphon that is after them, but Seth insists that they shouldn't tell Jack the truth, as humans are untrustworthy. Sarah disagrees. Jack starts to drive over a bridge, and the hunter reappears, shooting at them with lasers. They enter another tunnel, and Jack discovers that a train is coming from the other way. Sarah makes the taxicab go faster, and it manages to escape a collision, while the spaceship is destroyed. Back at the lab, Burke and the others know about the explosion surrounding the cabin, and want it checked out. He also knows about the train collision, and the possibility that someone else is looking for the kids. Jack pulls over the cab, and the kids tell the truth. They are in fact aliens, sent to Earth to retrieve something. He doesn't believe them, knowing that Jack wants proof that they are aliens. Sarah levitates several objects in the cab. It freaks Jack out a little, and he agrees to help. The cab makes its way into the small town of Stony Creek. Jack asks a local mechanic to fix it, but he says he's closed. Jack offers triple the amount to pay, to Eddie's surprise. While he's doing repairs, the trio head to a local restaurant to cool off. Sarah is worried that Jack is going to ditch them, as she has telepathy powers and can read his mind. Thanks to the LoJack calling Jack about the cab, the short conversation was enough for Burke, and his men catch up to Jack. They surround the restaurant that the three of them are in, and Burke calls Jack and gives him the offer that, if he gave up Seth and Sarah, Burke would wipe his past clean. Instead of turning them in, Jack gets the attention of a local sheriff and his men. He slowly gets the kids to cover near the back, as the government men and the sheriff's team draw guns on each other. A local waitress leads them to a shaft, where they can get out through the roof. Jack can't open the shaft door, as it's locked from the outside. Seth reaches up, slipping his hand through and opening it from the outside. They go across the roof as the agents close in on them, and land in a neighbor's yard, where an angry dog confronts Jack. He thinks he's going to get attacked, but instead, it licks Sarah in the face. They get into the cab and drive off. The agents try to chase them, but Sarah uses her powers to electrically blow the engines on their cars, as they pass. Burke tries to get a shot off, but the dog Sarah befriends bites him in the arm and runs away. As the cab's about to leave, Sarah makes it stop, and the dog climbs in. Seth tells Jack that they should head for their base. Jack disagrees. However, Seth retaliates, since no one will be alive if they don't get their spaceship. Sarah asks where they should start to search. Yet, Jack wanted to drop Seth and Sarah back off in Vegas, along with the dog they had picked up, and drive off. This made Seth conclude that his suspicions were right, and that no human would help them. But thanks to Sarah's telepathy, the name Dr. Alex Friedman came up. They arrive at Planet Hollywood. The three of them catch up to Friedman, who just got humiliated with her technical space discussion, being laughed at by sci-fi fans. They go into a Mars exhibit, where Jack tells her the whole story. She doesn't believe it, until her laptop drops on the floor by Seth's intangibility, and Sarah saves a collision by lifting it telekinetically, and handing it back to her. Seth then activates a special screening device, showing them the whole universe. They explain what they're doing there. Their parents were trying to research Earth, to find resources for their dying planet, and want to inhabit it peacefully. Other people think that forceful invasion is the answer. They need to get back to their planet with the proof, or both planets will be doomed. Alex thinks she can get help from a colleague, and they go to see him. He explains that the only place they could possibly store their spaceship, which is of tremendous size, is in a hidden base called Witch Mountain. Harlan gives them maps of Witch Mountain, and a warning, to trust no one. Alex goes up to get her stuff, as she insists on coming along with them. Sarah detects that she likes Jack, and he feels the same. The kids run off for a sci-fi display, and Jack begins looking for them. However, the two thugs jump him and drag him away. He then sees the two stormtrooper guys he mocked earlier in the cab, grabs their toy guns, and beats up the thugs. Meanwhile, a cheesy sci-fi show is going on, with B-movie actors on the stage. This fascinates the kids, even though they think they're being made fun of. What they aren't aware of, however, is that the siphon is in the group, ready to blast them. Sarah lowers a light fixture on the siphon, crashing him through a monitor. Meanwhile, Burke's men remain chasing them. Just when they think they have Jack and the kids, Sarah sets the slot machines off, so they spew a whole lot of money. Crowds flock to gather it, and the three of them escape, along with Alex, coming back from her room. They've taken Harlan's SUV, and are headed up to Witch Mountain. They arrive at Witch Mountain, as they slowly make their way towards it, unaware that a security camera is tracking them. As they climb down a ridge, Sarah and Seth are both taken down by tranquilizer darts. Burke and his men capture them. Jack tries to put up a fight, but is subdued by two guards. Burke explains that he could go back to jail if he resists. Jack simply refuses to fight any further, and this shocks Alex. As Jack and Alex ride in a jeep with two soldiers, she still can't believe he's given up. She slaps him, and it distracts the two soldiers, long enough for them to get thrown out. Jack wonders when she knew that he wasn't giving up on the kids. She says he hasn't given up on them so far. They make their way through a tunnel access system into the base, after just narrowly escaping getting incinerated. Jack and Alex make their way inside, but their presence is soon known with an internal alarm system. As the others go to look for them, they sneak into the lab, subduing the other scientists, and slowly awakening the kids. However, Jack and Alex aren't the only ones infiltrating the base. The siphon is also there, shooting back at the soldiers, and forcing them to fall back. Jack, Alex and the kids make their way around the base, until they locate the ship. Alex makes the scientists leave, but they're stopped short of entering by Burke and his men. They inadvertently fire on them, but Seth's powers bounce off the bullets, and they manage to get on board. They activate a computer panel and get the ship's engine revving as the siphon enters the lab. He shoots at the men, and notices the ship leaving, but not until it runs right into him, head on. The ship flies through the corridors, as Burke orders the base to be shut down. With the doors closing, the kids fly the ship at high speed, and it escapes into the night. However, a stuck open airlock seems to be dragging the ship down. Jack says he'll take care of it, if the kids can fly the ship. He goes back trying to fix the airlock, only to run into the siphon. They have a huge fight, and Jack eventually knocks off his helmet, revealing the siphon's face. Seth goes to help Jack, while Alex sits in the passenger seat, unsure how to drive the ship with Sarah. The hunter and Jack continue to fight until Jack falls in. The siphon comes down to finish him off, but Seth distracts him. Jack grabs the siphon, only to pull him up, punch him in the face, and make him fall. The two climb out of the chamber, and the ship flies straight on. The movie ends as everyone says their goodbyes. Seth apologizes to Jack for not trusting humans. They also give them a transmitter, so they can find them wherever they go. Sarah gives Jack a hug goodbye, asking him to take care of the dog. The kids take off, as Jack and Alex watch. The ship flies away at light speed. I hope you enjoy another episode of our movie recap. Until next time.